This is white paper on economic benevolence or economic competition or competitivism, version 1.0. The reason I'm making this video and putting out this document into the wild is because I'm looking for constructive criticism and finding any mistakes I made or if I missed something. Please add any ideas you may have in the comments with timestamps so I know what you are referring to. I look forward to any possible collaboration, or if anyone is working on the same thesis, I'll be more than happy to help. Let's begin. White paper for economic benevolence, or economic competition or competitivism. Definition of capitalism: extraction and collection of capital through commerce. A business owner is not the same as a capitalist. Definition of economic benevolence: economic competition or competitivism. Competition between capitalist and taxpayers-owned enterprises in the creation of products and services for the improvement of life for people. If a business's product or service harms people or requires exploitation of workers to exist, then it is capitalist endeavor and has nothing to do with the economic benevolence. Preface. Two sides of the same coin. I'm not a fan of capitalism or communism because both of these economic systems are extremely prone to human nature: corruption, greed, lack of innovation, and laziness. As you can see with your Apple, Tesla, or American healthcare that can't even cure heartburn, capitalism is great at causing diabetes, heart disease, and cancer since these evils increase capital gains, but not so good at preventing it since it would reduce shareholders' capital gains. Post-slavery, great American capitalism resulted in exploitation of Negroes, Asians, Native Americans, and all sorts of immigrants for cheap labor, and worst of all, explosion in child labor and sale of children into debt bondage or forced labor. Capitalism hasn't gotten any significant innovation since the 1970s. Capitalism can't build public transportation as good as America had it in the 1960s or modern-day Japan. SpaceX can't even do what taxpayer-funded NASA has done in 1969. And that's considering taxpayers gave SpaceX $15.3 billion to do what Russia was doing for $20 million. For $15.3 billion of our taxpayer money, Russia could have provided us flights to space for next 100 to 200 years, if not more. Communism and socialism has exact same problems: corruption, greed, lack of innovation, laziness, zero upward accountability, plus genocide. Since communism and socialism was funded and ran by you-know-who and calls for genocide of all Gentiles, as stated in Talmud Kedushin 4:11-7, kill the best of Gentiles. USSR put man in space but had to import high-quality goods such as electronics, clothing, food, medical equipment, and much more. Communism can't build quality products because there is no government incentive, transparency, upward accountability, and responsibility, nor any incentive for the worker to produce high-quality products and innovations to improve people's lives. Excluding military products, Russia still manufactures cars from 1960s. China's buildings fall down on weekly basis because of corruption and thievery. Challenges for capitalists, communists, and socialists. Question for communists and socialists: how to motivate people to do quality work and ensure progress of innovation for the working class. Jobs that are unfulfilling, low skill, physically hard, and dangerous. Restaurant workers, store, warehouse, hotel workers, taxi drivers, truck drivers, construction workers, farmhands, fruit and vegetable pickers. If you have an answer, please put it in the comment section or direct message me on Instagram DMFS100. Question for capitalists. Capitalistic greed leads to exploitation of workers, enslavement of poor people and countries, and stagnation in innovation. Question: how to avoid exploitation of the working class, enslavement of poor people, and ensure progress of innovation under capitalism? If you have an answer, please put it in the comment section or direct message me on Instagram DMFS100. Why no libertarianism? We already have libertarianism with giant tech, food, drug, healthcare, education, prisons, and of course military-industrial complex. Oligarchs pay less than 2% in taxes while individuals pay over 40%. Oligarchs do whatever they want without any consequences, while individuals have less rights than a freed slave during the Roman Empire. For those who claim that corporations will build roads, you are 100% correct. This is called 90% marginal tax rate. Put a gun to oligarchs' head and tax 90% of their income, and use that money to build roads as it was done in USA before capitalists bought all the government. No gun, no roads. If oligarchs wanted to build roads and provide health care to people, they would have done it 2,000 years ago. Oh, wait, that was called monarchy. If we are peasants living under monarchy, then where is my 20% tax instead of the current 40%? Where is my tax-funded education? Where is my tax-funded housing? Where is my tax-funded health care? Capitalists want the working class to pay 40% in taxes and the working class to provide for all their needs themselves. If you are a proponent of abolishing taxes with the assumption that corporations will build roads, please give me 5 examples where multi-billion-dollar corporations were eager to pay their employees 25% cost of a house as yearly salary. This would match 1945 American working-class wages, 40 hours a week for 4 years of bank teller's salary equals a new house. Corporations have killed and physically injured over 5 billion people and are not eager to pay a single dollar in compensation. Or give me 5 examples where corporations wanted to give more money in taxes for road construction. Remember definition of capitalism: extraction and collection of capital. One more thing before we get into the actual rules for economic benevolence or economic competitiveness. This is very important. Private ownership of factories, communications, safety, housing, food, water, medicine, transportation, energy, education, finances, technological development must be preserved at all times by any means necessary to prevent government monopolistic control. Rules for economic benevolence or economic competitivism. 1. Traitorship, theft, corruption, sabotage, impairment must be punished by confiscation of property and public execution in a timely fashion. This will prevent evil and, just as important, keep the people engaged in the government processes. Public people's inspectors, auditors, journalists must be allowed to examine all government activities, propose laws and finances for the purposes of removing evil from the body of society. 2. No crypto or digital currency or creation of new non-gold-backed currency is allowed under any condition. Cash transactions must be encouraged at all times. No privacy for the government actions and financial transactions. Total privacy for the individuals in all legal, financial, and personal transactions. All currency must be backed by gold. Nation's currency must be owned by the people of the nation. No borrowing currency from central banks. No fractional banking. Financial audits of the government may be performed by anyone at any time. All financial information must be free and easily accessible. 3. All tax income and spending of taxpayers' money must be put up for vote to the community, county, state, nation, and have detailed records, transparency with free and easy access. 4th. Taxpayer-provided goods and services must be placed on transparent public auction for the lowest bids between capitalists and taxpayer-owned enterprises. Combining budgets or projects is not allowed. For example, an auction for construction of a hospital cannot include construction of a parking lot, road, purchase of hospital beds, and so on. The goal is to provide the best goods and services to the public for the lowest cost to the taxpayers, such as roads, factories, communications, security, housing, food, water, medicine, transportation, energy, education, and technological development. NASA should compete with SpaceX, and private road construction companies must compete with community-owned road construction companies. Taxpayers' enterprises must be set up in such a way that competition with capitalists is fierce. 5. Chief purpose of taxpayers' money is to reduce the need to work for the survival of the individual. Competition is a must in innovation, goods and services with capitalist enterprises. Taxpayers' enterprises must actively build and develop self-sufficiency in vital areas like communications, security, housing, manufacturing, food, water, healthcare, transportation, energy, education, and especially in technological, scientific, and medical development. 6. People's savings money can only be used in accordance with Rules 1 and 2. If any individual has excess money for investments, money is only allowed to be invested in community, county, state-owned projects. Usury is strictly prohibited. 7. Sale of all property such as intellectual property, land, real estate must be presented to the taxpayer fund and go through community, county, state, first right of refusal before being sold. Foreign corporations or individuals cannot own commercial land, commercial real estate, or intellectual property created in USA. 8. Land is not unlimited. Wasteful ownership of forest-free land, farmland, empty housing, No sales tax bringing commercial properties must be taxed to prevent it from turning into capitalistic investments. Farmland must be cultivated to grow food for people. Commercial properties must be put up for rent or sold. Real estate cannot be used for capitalistic purposes. Just because a certain group of people had military advancement and a will to conquer land from the previous owners does not give capitalists the right to waste the land. We, the people, can take that land back from capitalists by the same means. Just because we choose not to doesn't mean they will use it as a capitalistic scarce commodity, produce and sell, or pay greed tax. 9. Goods and services are not allowed to be resold for profit, nor is restricting access to them. If a baker wants to bake bread, the baker is responsible for the distribution of the bread to the end user. Middlemen, brokers, resellers are not allowed to restrict access to goods or services. Providers of goods and services must be open to the public. Business shall exist for the livelihood of the business owner and providing goods and services to the community, not to extract and collect capital. 10. No subsidies are allowed at any time. If a capitalist enterprise cannot sustain itself, it deserves to die. If a product or service is vital, then taxpayers, community, or state must create an enterprise to provide for the people and compete with the capitalist enterprises. 11. All natural resources belong to the people and must be operated by the community. Natural resources are never allowed to be owned or profited from by capitalist or foreign enterprises. Am I missing anything? Now let's talk about transition from capitalism to economic benevolence, or economic competition, competitivism. If we proceed with communist method of eradication of capitalists, then we run into a problem of unskilled, uneducated workers being in charge of a billion-dollar machine with no experience or ability to use it. Top echelon of capitalists such as oligarchs, C-suite executives, board of directors, bankers, financiers, lawyers, judges, and politicians can be eradicated without any consequences, since they do not produce anything but only use up resources. Hands-on specialists and producers must be preserved and put in charge of the production at their will. 1. No destruction of property under any pretense. Evidence of evil must be preserved for future generations or used for public benefit. 2. Capitalist enterprises must pay all the taxpayers' money that was ever given to them with 10% yearly interest in timely fashion, 30 days. 3. All taxpayer-funded gains such as research, products, patents, technology, or services must be put in public domain, and all profits must be paid to the taxpayers. 4. Non-taxpayer-funded projects, patents that have not been used in the last 3 years must be given to the public domain in perpetuity. 5. Let people take legal action against corporations and government agents that have injured people. Hold corporations, executives, employees, investors legally and financially responsible for the damages they have done. Judges must be of the people. Anyone can represent and assist in legal matters. Am I missing anything? Dan Strong, January 23, 2025.